Oh my God. I love you. Hi, everybody. Well, this is a really amazing surprise and treat. Um, this is the first ever Sunny Side Up recording on video. Yay! And our very special guest just informed me that she washed her hair for this episode. So
when season 7.
her hair looks extra lovely today. And Kailey washes her hair on Wednesdays and Sundays. So that's what happens when you have incredibly lovely locks. Like, this is like, I'm very envious.
Thank you. It's just my whole family. I'll do.
I would love that. So
people ask me if I do something special. I'm like, well, there's lots that I do to nourish. But also my family has really great hair.
Okay. So you're going to give your family credit, genetics. Genetics takes credit, but
I do a lot to nourish.
You do a lot to nourish it. Okay. Well, I have never had thick hair, and today's episode is not about hair. So that's okay, but we're just going to kick it off with that. So Kailey and I also, just a little disclaimer, we are bundled up. It is very cold at the Sunshine House today. So we've got our hot tea. Cheers.
Cheers.
We've got our hot tea. We've got our blankets. It is like the most perfect snowy day. I mean, it is so gorgeous. Okay, before this episode is over, I think we should turn the camera and show them. Because if you're listening and you don't live in Michigan, or you just want to remember this snowstorm on January 25th, 2023, it's just beautiful. We actually just had a clubhouse chat too with some of the Sunshine Squad about what we were grateful for. And in that conversation, we were all grateful for the snow.
How amazing is that?
I know.
I feel like sometimes you hear people that are just like, oh, it's snowing, it's cold, I want this. I'm like, listen, like when you live where it snows, you just gotta embrace the snow, unless it's in March or April. Then, no, but it's fine. We love the snow. We love Mother Nature.
And if you don't love the snow, like if you're somebody listening that doesn't love the snow, I want to tell you, because I shared this before, you just have to make up your mind to love the snow. Like you literally right now just have to say, okay, brain, okay, self, I'm going to love the snow, because otherwise you'll be miserable. There's so much you can do in the snow. Before I introduce you, tell everybody what you just showed me about your little guy. What's his name, playing in the snow, the whole thing.
My son is named Sunny. He is the sweetest soul, literally, that I've ever met. And he surprises me every day with like the sweetest stuff he does. But he was outside bundled like a little marshmallow and just like walking and laughing, and just like he finds bliss in everything that he does. And so just like him giggling, running outside just because there's snow falling down, it was just like the sweetest reminder just to love everything you do and everything around you. And so sweet.
Oh my goodness. So she showed me the video, and like she said, this little puff ball.
He was literally like little marshmallow.
And then like a little giggle. Right. How old is
he? He's just a year and a half. Just
a year and a half. Okay. So fellow mama with us here. So we could probably talk about motherhood this whole episode if we wanted to.
We might.
I think we definitely will talk about motherhood. Okay, so Kailey Lena is my guest today on Sunny Side Up. And this is so special, you guys, because first of all, we have a video of this, which we've never done on Sunny Side Up, where we're in person recording. We have our sunshine mugs, and we're at the Sunshine House. The house is in Milford, and the house was established this year. I actually got the keys on 11/11, which was super special.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I'm not making that up. I swear that
Angel
happened.
Numbers. I love that.
I swear that happened. Angel numbers. So the purpose of this house is to connect, to record, to engage, to have workshops, to have events. Like what's going to happen here, I can't even fathom. It's going to be so amazing. So this is super special. And Kailey and I actually met at a baby shower. So we were at a baby shower for a fellow friend, and she was actually a guest on the episode too. So if you want to go back and watch my episode on cacao and the power of healing plants. Lindsay Glasson is her name. And she is just such a love. We love her. Love. And she will actually be at the house. She's going to be at the Sunshine House on February 12th to do a cacao nidra ceremony with another woman that's in the wellness space. So today is with Kailey, and my intro of Kailey was we met at this baby shower. We immediately connected. We became friends on Instagram because that's how things go.
I love that space for that kind of stuff.
Love that space. And then Kailey, with her power move, she reached out to me because I started naturopath school and I'm 6 months in, and I was posting about muscle testing. And I'm a newbie to muscle testing. I'm a newbie to naturopath education. I've always been into natural healing. I've always been into wellness. And we might talk about that too, like where that was founded and how that came about. But Kailey reached out to me and said, hey girl, if you ever want to come to my office and we can talk about muscle testing, and I will show you my way of muscle testing, which is different from what I learned. Let's do it. Fast forward a couple months later, I don't know how much time went by, but I finally went to Kailey's office, and I'm going to share that. I'm going to share my experience with her because I think we'll get to that. But it was really, really cool. And it also goes to show you that be brave enough to reach out to somebody and say, hey, I saw you post about this, and I also know about that. Let's chat because we'll learn from each other on it, you know?
Absolutely.
It was so cool. It was such a cool moment of like, hell yes, I want to go learn from Kailey. And I also have to tell you another badass thing she did. When we were together, the several hours for muscle testing, I was trying to muscle test her back so that we could learn from each other. Yeah. And it was a teachable moment for me. And I am learning to embrace teachable moments. That's like something I am manifesting, is to be a better learner and to receive feedback in a better way and learn from others. Like that's one of my goals this year. It really is to learn more and be more teachable, because we're always learning. Like it's a whole lifetime. We'll never stop learning, right? So, all right. So that's my intro of Kailey, but I want to turn the floor over to Kailey now and have you tell us, who is Kailey? Tell us.
Well, like you said, mom, first and foremost. My son transformed my life, which we will get into. Also, my love for yoga started over 10 years ago, and who got me into that I met on Instagram too, which is so funny. That's why I love that space. But I'm a nurse turned wellness warrior, like holistic medicine healer. And I came from the very traditional space, medicine in the ICU, kids and cardiac defects, and that was like a whole nother lifetime. But that started this whole cascade of events that led me deeper into truly what healing is and what it should be about. And yeah, and I just like love it to my core, and I just want to share it with everyone. And I love learning too. I feel like I'm like a collector of different like modalities that I can just help spread and teach, because that's what I want. Is I want everyone to realize that there is such a collective, like we are all so connected, and I want everyone to realize, in order for us to heal the world and like heal the society, and like I want people to care about that so much that they care about healing themselves. And
we need that. We very much need that.
But yeah, mother, yoga teacher, healer, nurse. If you're into human design, 3-5 manifesting generator, Enneagram 2. What else?
Oh my gosh. Did I tell you I'm a manifest generator?
No. Oh, I love human design. We could get deep in human design. Okay. Like, I love it.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know we were going to go there today. I just learned from another fellow wellness friend about human design. And learned that I'm a manifest generator, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
You know, so let's talk about that at some point.
Okay.
I want to double down on what Kailey just said. You came from the ICU, you came from nursing, you came from traditional medicine, and which is as a healer, right? So you're out there, you're healing, you're a nurse, so how did you progress from Western medicine, healing in that way, to where you are now? Like, did that happen for a reason? Are you still in a hospital working?
Okay. I left. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've always been interested in healing in medicine, and I used to watch the surgery channel. When I was 5 or 6, my mom would come in and I'd literally be watching the surgery channel. And I loved science, but I didn't initially want to heal humans. I wanted to heal animals because that was my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just somehow found my way to like wanting to have that connection with people. And so when I got into nursing, I was like so excited because it was all about the learning. I loved it. And then when I actually had my own patients was when I realized how many problems there were and how many gaps in traditional medicine. And I was already into more of like a holistic lifestyle because I started yoga like when I was a senior in high school. And so I already had a different mindset, and people were always curious about what I was eating and what I was doing because I just kind of like danced to the beat of my own drum. And I would try to kind of incorporate certain things, we had a lot of kids taking antibiotics. I was like, can you just like have them alternate with a probiotic? And I just got shut down on a lot. And that kind of woke me up in a way because everyone had these strict views and they weren't willing to expand. And since I love to expand, I had a hard time with that.
So it kind of put you in a box.
Yes. Yeah. And especially since I was the one that was one-on-one with those patients. So like I saw every day what they went through and what they needed and the gaps, the ones that would get better and the ones that wouldn't. So that called me strongly to transition. And then I also hit my lowest point in my own health. So I was working night shifts. Oh my gosh, I just like was not sleeping. It was so hard for me. And I was seeing these sick kids and I was seeing a lot of deaths, and it just really like hit me in a way that I was never expecting. And I latched on to every little thing, and family members would latch on to me, and I just like found myself so empty and unable to heal in the way that I wanted to. And then it was like draining my own life force. Yeah. And I will never forget this. I had a nurse tell me, because I was really upset about a patient. She said, for you to survive in this field, you need to turn off your emotions and go cold. Wow. And I had such a problem with that. Yeah. I was like, I really don't think that that's the answer. No. And that just woke me up. Yeah. That was your awakening. Yeah. And I was like, no, I don't think that that is what we should be doing. That might be right for you, but that is not right for me. And my now husband, he wasn't husband at the time, but I think we were just dating at the time. His family was always in holistic medicine, and he brought me to an appointment with him to see Dr. Brownstein, which I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Dr. Brownstein, but written amazing books. He's at Center for Holistic Medicine in West Bluefield, and learned so much from him. But I just went to an appointment with him, and he sat down with me, and we started chatting, and he's like, you should work here. Awesome. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to work here. Yeah. And then I did. And then that just that was kind of that's how you left. You were like, okay, this is my sign. I'm going to leave this space of wellness and go to this space. Okay. Yeah. And when I look back to that, like how brave I was in that transition, so many people are like, you're leaving University of Michigan where you have this retirement and you have this paycheck and you have this safety and like stability in this job. And I was like, yes, this is what I need to do. That is hugely brave. And following your heart. You actually, Kailey mentioned that on our Clubhouse episode about following your heart, and how many of us feel like we're feeling this pull to follow our heart and do something, but we're too afraid. It's like we're paralyzed. Like, I can't leave my 401k. I can't leave my consistent paycheck. I can't leave this field because this is what my degree is in.
or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you did it. You took the leap. And so in a way, that would have been one of your shit storms. Like,
yes,
that, right? That wrestle with yourself. So how do we navigate these storms in life and find the sunshine? And so I would feel like that would classify as one of those times.
Yes.
When you were wrestling with
yes,
it, right?
that was such a big point for me. And I feel like when I looked at where I wanted to be and who I wanted to become and who I wanted to help, staying at the hospital just would have kept me where I was at. Yeah. There was no room for growth. There was no room for expansion and transformation in the way that I was looking for. So once I realized that, it just completely detached me, even though I didn't know where I was going. Mm-hmm. I just had this trust like in myself and the universe. And I was like, this is going to lead me where I need to be. Mm-hmm. And, you know, of course there's like fear in that, absolutely. But it's funny because like in that moment I knew there was, but looking back, there just was no other way.
Yeah.
There was no other way. So it just didn't even like.
You walked through the door.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not saying every one of my transitions has been that easy. No, but when I look back, I'm like, how was I just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And just did it. And it was, so that kind of like is really what spiraled me into the type of healing that I do now. But,
okay. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like I have a similar story in some of the things that Kailey was saying, some of the things you were saying. I had a moment in my past life. So 13 years working for a nonprofit. And I loved my job. Mm-hmm. But I had a moment where I knew for like a year, I knew that my heart was being called to go somewhere else, to do something else. And you can never put me in a box. Maybe that's the manifesting generator. You can't be in a box.
Multiple things.
Yeah, we love multiple things. Our hands are always in multiple things. So I didn't like being in that box, and autonomy is really important to me. I know that about myself, and I've learned that about myself. So I was at the tail end of my career, and someone said to me, well, Alicia, you're just going to have to fake it till you make it. Oof. And I loathe fake it till you make it, because there's nothing fake. I can't ever fake anything. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, I wear my emotions. And so that was my turning point. When somebody said to me, you're just going to have to fake it till you make it. Just like somebody said to you, you're going to have to remove your emotions. I think the point here for everyone listening is, if you're in a position, a career, a job, a situation in your life, and something is being said to you that doesn't fill your soul or resonate with you, or you just know, nope, that's all you need to know is nope, this isn't working for me anymore, that there is another way. You don't have to be stuck in that, right? And maybe it'll be bumpy. It is the way. It is the way. Mm-hmm. And maybe it'll be bumpy. It will for sure be bumpy. It will for sure be bumpy, right? Okay, so you broke through the door. Dr. Brownstein, you're there. How long ago was that?
That was in 2020. So that was my bumpy road. I literally left my secure job, and then COVID happened. And literally everything COVID happened 2 weeks later. So that made it a little bumpiness. But yeah, 2020.
Were you guys still seeing patients?
Yeah.
All virtually then?
No.
Oh, tell us.
Yeah, so we were seeing patients. Anyone that was like diagnosed COVID, they would see in the parking lot, and we would give nutritional IV therapy and check their vitals and do everything we could do to keep them out of the hospital. We had different therapies, different solutions, nebulizer solution, all the stuff that we could try to do. And we had like oral protocols. Yeah. So we had a specific staff that would go outside to see them. And then we had a specific group of people that would just stay inside to see the healthy people that were just coming in for their visits. But we were technically seen as like a first line, or I forget, so we could stay open.
I got you. Essential workers for
Yes. So we were allowed to be open. We had the choice to close, but we were allowed to stay open, and he gave the choice to the staff. And some people stayed home, and some of us didn't, because we have that calling to help and to heal.
Yeah.
And not saying that that time was easy, and it was not, but yeah, it was super interesting just to see how like that all evolved and see how we were helping people get through that illness.
Yeah.
In such a different way.
So that's huge because none of us knew how to navigate the pandemic. None of us knew how to navigate COVID. It's all new to us. We all handled it in different ways, right? Mm-hmm. So somebody could go to the hospital with symptoms of COVID or a diagnosis of COVID, and the way that they would be treated would be completely different if they found their way to, is a naturopath clinic?
So actually all of them are MDs.
They're all MDs.
They're all MDs. So
okay.
The 3 MDs, Dr. Brownstein, Dr. Amy, and Dr. Nussbaum, they are MDs that make the holistic route. So they were traditionally taught and got in the field and were like, nope, this is not the way. So, and then there's also a physician assistant and a nurse practitioner.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
But they do more of like extensive blood work, like looking deeper and then looking for like the lifestyle, the supplement protocols. They do nutritional IVs. They have a bunch of different modalities there that we use to treat, but then they also have that background of like, hey, okay, we tried this, and this, you need the back. We tried this, and this, you should go get the ultrasound. So they have a way of blending the two in a very unique way that helps support the patient evaluation.
Awesome. Yeah. Really awesome. So you reminded me too, kind of going back to the basics of, both fields of medicine are about healing, whether it's Western medicine, Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, naturopath, whatever. But the naturopath side of things looks at the root cause of disease and the root cause of illness. Whereas the medical side, the MD side of things, treats the symptoms. So that's like the most basic way of looking at it, right?
Yes.
So we have a headache and we could take some Tylenol to mask the headache and get rid of the headache, which is treating the symptom.
Ooh, Tylenol.
Okay, we can talk about that.
Another topic.
Or let's get to the root of the headache.
Yeah.
And what are those natural ways we can treat the headache? In fact, since I mentioned the root of Tylenol was established from an herb, which was white willow bark, right? White willow bark is Tylenol. And thousands of years ago, they took white willow bark and extracted the benefits from it so that we could heal. And then as time went on and money became involved and big pharma became involved, it was, what else can we add to white willow bark? And then we brand it as Tylenol. And I'm just giving you like the dumbed down version of that, but that's about right?
Yeah.
That's about right.
And they say, take Tylenol, like the worst thing you could do, like for an example, like if you had a headache from a hangover, like the worst thing that you could do is take Tylenol, because Tylenol depletes the secretion of glutathione in your liver, which naturally helps you detox.
Say that again.
Okay, so your liver produces something called glutathione that naturally helps you detox.
Yeah.
And so if you're naturally just trying to detox on your own, because let's say you had a night of fun, whatever that may need to, and then you take something that is actively depleting that natural way that your body's going to detox.
Got it.
It is just like toxins are just circulating.
Yes. So thank you for reiterating that, because I think that's important for everyone to know. And correct me if I'm wrong. Glutathione was recommended to supplement during COVID.
It was.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, some of you guys heard that, but glutathione was something that the wellness practitioners, especially in the naturopath world, there was vitamin D, vitamin C, glutathione, vitamin A,
zinc.
I think there was I have the protocol written down actually, but
quercetin.
Okay.
We at Dr. Brownstein's, which I don't want to get into too much.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, they recommended vitamin A, C, and D.
Okay.
Which was just like the basic.
Yeah. So I think the point too is there's no judgment, there's no right or wrong. Nobody know how to handle it, right?
Oh, and it's different for every person.
It's different for every person. So ask yourself, what can you do now? What can you do now in this moment to heal? Whether it's gut health or headaches or migraines or
hormones,
or however we label ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was something I wanted to jump into with you, if we could.
Yeah.
I love this about Kailey, and Kailey taught this to me, is that we get so caught up in these labels. I am diabetic. I am a recovering addict. I have Crohn's. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So I love the way that you presented it too, because whenever you say an I am or an I have, it's ultimately stating a belief that you have. And a lot of times beliefs are limiting, because when you have that label of I have chronic fatigue, I have Lyme disease, I am someone who doesn't work out, or whatever it is.
Yes.
When you give yourself
You're claiming it.
That label, that limiting belief, you are only limiting yourself. So when you are tied to that, you're ultimately giving yourself proof that that is true. And to me, I found that to be the biggest block with the patients that I work with now, is I have some of them that have these illnesses or these different like behavioral ways in their lifestyle that prove whatever that belief is to be true. When if we just rewrite that story, I mean, these are all just stories that we tell ourselves, these patterns in our life, and we just rewrite those stories and let go of that, then you can heal so much quicker and move so much further and elevate and transform your life. Because when you're hiding behind that, it just it blocks you.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. And that's when you have to ask yourself, like, are you truly ready to let go of whatever the identity is? Because some people aren't.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But just having that awareness around that is going to open so many doors and pathways for you. Just by knowing.
Well, and I think a lot of people, like Kailey said, it's okay to associate with these diagnoses, because if it's true, if it's a truth to you, or if it's a truth in your life, and even if it's a serious illness, you know, cancer, I mean, that's one of the most serious things. If you have cancer, what would happen if you said, I don't have cancer? I just have multiplying cells in my body. I don't know. It kind of like changed. I don't know.
So this just popped into my head. I have a good example for this.
Okay.
So when I was seeing patients, I did have one. She was a young mom. She had a brain tumor that she found after COVID, and it was all over her body. And she would come in and just, even though you could see the illness and the sickness on her, she came in with this different energy. And every time I would ask her, hi, how are you today? Like, how are you doing? Are you okay? She would look at me like I was crazy, because she would just be like, I'm great. Like, I'm fantastic. What do you mean? Like, why are you asking me that question? Like, who am I? Like, why are you asking me if I'm okay? Like, just, she completely let go of that label and was just like, this is something that I'm going to heal from. Like, I don't associate myself with this label. I know that that label might be true and might be happening in my body, but you don't have to identify with it. Because if you want to be stuck by something, judge it and you identify with it. And then automatically you're stuck in that space. But if you accept it, which is key, accept that truth, but don't identify with it, and you can move forward, there's no judgment there. So when you have that judgment, that creates a block as well. But when you just accept it and live it, and then move forward through it, and you can change that pattern. And she healed. And it was just like, it was so amazing to see, because I have so many people that would come in and they were just down, which rightfully so. You have a serious condition going on.
Wow.
And the ones that could not move through that headspace, it took longer, or their outcomes were.
So what you said, I feel like some people would listen to that. So I want to go back with, and I'm going to insert the negative words that we don't want, which is denial and being naive. So I have a diagnosis of cancer. I do not, but I'm just saying if there's a patient that did, or if there's somebody out there that did or does, you deny it or you are naive about it. That's so much different than what Kailey just said, where you acknowledge that it's there. Mm-hmm. You have this diagnosis. It's been given to you. It's something in your body. It's something that's happening, but you don't attach to it. Exactly. Right. That's so different than, I guess what made me think of that is I think a lot of people listening to this might go, well, I don't know how to do that. All I know is that I received this diagnosis. How do I do that? Mm-hmm. How do I acknowledge it's there but not get attached to it?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good question. And that's why I've kind of shifted my business, because I feel like people don't know. Like, and that comes with like the being naive. Like you only know what you know. And I feel like sometimes people don't even realize like what attaching and the mindset is doing for you. And if you don't know, if you've never had that perspective shift, just because maybe how you grew up or who has just happened to be around your life or you surrounded yourself with, then it's hard. So until someone, I feel like, wakes you up and it's like, hey, wait, let's sit with this, let's accept this, let's feel what it feels like, and then move forward through it.
Which is where it's important as a nurse, as a practitioner, as a wellness, to not let go of the emotion, because you're acknowledging that emotion and you're allowing that person to feel the emotion, but then teaching them how not to attach to it. Exactly. That's huge. That's a really big deal.
Yeah, exactly. Because anything that you have not healed from the past is automatically going to tell you stories about your future. And then that's where different fears play in. So once you get through that underlying block of whatever it is, you can erase that and let go of that story. So you stop applying it. That's where like we are creating these patterns all throughout our life, which is just normal and it just happens. But having the awareness and knowing that it's not something that you have to stick with.
Yeah.
That you can release it.
Yeah.
And change your feelings towards it gives you the power back.
It gives you the power.
And that's what's so huge. And that's like something that's so important for me to share, is that, you know, people come to get healed or whatever that means, but we want to give you the power back to become who you were and who you are meant to be.
Right.
So it's almost like, you know, you're transforming, which is so true, but like you always had that power and you always had that person.
Yeah. So I want to make sure we get back to what you said. That's where my business is heading. Because I want to ask you about that next, where your business is heading. But something that you said made me think of the unprocessed traumas that we've been through, the unprocessed crap that we maybe have tried to deal with or we can't deal with, shows up in relationships and shows up in our life. I just saw this quote on Instagram, of course, about if there's somebody that we don't like, or there's somebody that crosses our path that we're like, ugh, I just get like this vibe from them and I just don't care for it. It could be because that's a negative person for you and you need to create a boundary. Yep. Or it could be unprocessed trauma and crap that is coming out of you and you actually literally see it in that person.
You're projecting it.
You're projecting it like a mirror, right?
Yep.
So that was, I hadn't, you know, when you like read something or you interact with somebody, you go, oh, I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's maybe not for everybody. Maybe everybody listening, that's not for you, but it was for me. And I think I'm doing that with some relationships of mine or some past relationships of mine where like, oh, why did it hit me that way? You know, is it a boundary or is it unprocessed crap? So yeah, that garbage, we got to take that garbage out, right?
And again, it's all about just like awareness to that.
Yeah.
You know, and then again, not judging it and not judging yourself for it and not like that's what's the most important piece, I feel like. It's not, because when you judge, there's like a part of you that's rejecting. And when you reject, just more resistance will continue to come forth. So
when you say that again, when you judge,
it's a part of you that's like you're rejecting a part of you.
That's the process.
Yeah.
Thank you, therapist Kailey. For having processed that.
That's what's so important. I feel like that was like the missing piece to the healing work, is that these people who I'm giving these specific supplement protocols based on like what their body is telling me with like the muscle testing work that I do, and it should be helping them.
Yeah.
And so the fact that there are people who it is not reaching was bothering me, because to me, this was it. This was, we can get to the root. We can get to the root of what is going on.
But you have to be willing to let it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That permission. Yeah.
And trusting yourself.
And trusting yourself. Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. Let's go there. Yeah. And I want to check our time too. So
you remember what time it started.
It's okay. Time is time. Right?
Yeah, right.
Also, I just want to let you guys know too, if you see us, like the reason that we're bundled, it's getting cold by the minute. We're like heating up by the candle. There is no heat in the house today. So we are recording without heat, which is why I keep like bundling.
Yeah. And then we can do some like Wim Hof breathing over here.
It's part of the healing process today. We're gonna go do snow angels.
That's right. We're regulating our nervous system.
We're regulating our nervous system,
which is the first step to healing. Right. Rest and digest. You got to regulate your nervous system.
That's true.
Yeah. That's sympathetic dominant. Oh, it's a whole nother thing.
Okay. So this is going to be a thing. Yeah. We're going to do this multiple times.
Okay. For sure.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So tell us, the direction your business is headed. And you said, I'll take you back. You said, and that's why my business is headed in that direction. Yes. So where is it headed? What does that look like?
Okay. So right now, I feel like I see people almost in like a traditional sense. They come in, I see them for 30 to 45 minutes. I redo my muscle testing technique that I do. We check back in, what's going on, what do we need to change, what's different. So with my technique, I'll just give a little brief. We are using vials to kind of communicate with the body to see what does the body not have that it wants, whether it's nutrients, minerals, what organs support, and then what does the body have that it does not need. So those are chronic infections, parasites, mold, heavy metal, viruses, all that good stuff. Toxins, we can even release emotions. There's so much we can do with it. So that's what we're kind of doing. We're kind of coming up with this protocol. And I see patients for 30 minutes, and then maybe I'm like, okay, let's check back in a month, anywhere from 2 weeks to 12, I feel like is pretty standard depending on what's going on. So again, I found these people that I was not reaching, and it was bothering me. I was like, why can I not like guide this person in the way to transform, in the way that they have every right to? And I found it was these blocks, these mindset blocks, these blocks in our identity, our truest form, maybe our environments, relationships, careers, whatever it is. And that was the first step. The body healing that I do is so important, because if you have infections or issues with like us in the physical form, it's now not allowing you to be your truest, highest self in the way that you can be, the way that you can live your life to be who you were meant to be. And so I'm starting this transition to first work one-on-one with people on, the timeline can vary depending on who it is with. But I'm thinking more around 12 weeks where we can kind of go through this step-by-step process of, hey, let's start here. Maybe your body's like not in a way of healing. Maybe you're in this sympathetic dominant state where there's all this pressure. There's all this pressure. I need this. I need to be able to. You don't truly need anything, but air. You need to breathe. You need water. So when you have this, like I need, you have all this pressure, and the body's automatically clamping down around that. So we first want to get you rest and digest or healing state. Then we want to dive into the identity work. What are you attaching to that is not serving your future self? Okay. So we kind of dive into that. And then we see, so who is this person that you want to elevate to, you want to become or return to? Mm-hmm. And what does it feel like to be that person?
Amazing.
So like completely embodying yourself in that, whether it's through meditation, a journaling session, you know, talking out loud with me, but truly feeling like, what would that person be doing? What would they be surrounding themselves with? And just finding that essence.
Yeah.
And then moving into the environment. So what in your environment is contributing to this identity of whatever it may be? So is it related to food? You know, do we need to work on intuitive eating and nourishing ourselves? Is it related to our environment? Is it related to movement? Is it, you know, maybe there's toxins in our home we need to get rid of. Maybe there's toxins we're putting on our body. There's so many things that we can create awareness to that just can help or can hinder.
Yeah.
And then diving into that muscle testing body work to see like, okay, what's actually going on in the body within the cells? What do we need? What do we don't need? That work side of it. And then subconscious healing. So what are those old blocks, those old patterns, those old traumas that are continuing to write this story for you that we need to unravel and work through? And then there's this next stage, and I hate to call them steps because they're non-linear. You know, we need to do them all. We don't necessarily have to do them all in the order. But I call it like, whether it's the crumble or the downfall or whatever, where your brain is like, are you sure? Do you want to do this? Like, are you sure we want to let go of these neural pathways?
I love the crumble.
Yeah. Like, are you sure? You know? Yes.
Yes.
The downfall, whatever, however you want to speak it, but where things might come up in your life that is questioning. It makes it hard. It makes you wonder, like, why am I doing this? And this piece is where so many can fall off. So many can fall off before that if you're not, you know, it can fall off with identity. But this piece is really like truly you questioning, why am I doing this? Because you need that level of believability. Do you believe it? Can you become it? And there's so many different ways that you can have that believability by things that you have experienced in your life or things you know of, or these are where testimonials are so great because they're like, if they can do it, why can't I? And that is so true.
Yeah.
And then the next step is just like continuing to embody. It's like getting to your essence. So what can you do to continue to embody that person that you are meant to be? So that can be so many different ways. Journaling, checking in with yourself, learning how to use your intuition, just really like truly listening to yourself, kind of in the ways we were talking about earlier that we weren't even knowing that we were doing. We were making these big shifts, but becoming more conscious to that. Wow. And yeah, so I want to work one-on-one with people in that way, but my ultimate goal is to create like more of a group program, something that's more accessible for everyone, to kind of get these tools in order to help them transform their own life, you know, to heal themselves, to become their highest potential, their essence, and get through all of like the crap. Really, that's what it is, you know, to become who you are.
I am so excited for you to do that.
You.
That, like, my first question would be, who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah. I agree with you.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so amazing and so holistic. It's whole person. We say holistic, I think we throw that word around. But
it's like, yes.
Right?
I think I wrote that
whole person. This is so whole person.
When we think that we're holistic in the holistic world, because we say we're mind, body, soul, mind, body, essence, but however you want to say it, mind, body, spirit. But I feel like in each of that, like there's still a focus area. And I feel like, you know, maybe it's focus on the blood work, like it was, you know, there. Or maybe it's,
oh gosh, sorry.
It's okay.
This is real life, people. Just trying to warm you up.
Yeah, no, it's good. Or maybe it's like focus on, the specific illness or just the supplements or whatever. And there's so many pieces. And that's like the gaps that I was finding in each of the holistic spaces that I was in, is I'm like, I feel like we're really not truly embodying this holistic mindset. And I want to be able to offer that, because I feel like that is,
and show people the way to embody that holistic.
Yeah, like giving you the tools, the, you know, different aligned actions that you can take in order to like reach that, and like, again, giving you power, giving you the power because you have it.
Well, and in a way too, so, and maybe this is your true talent, your God-given gift and ability as a manifest generator, which we'll tell you what that means in a second, but is that you had to do this in a way that nobody else would. So all the people out there that say, I can't enter this space, or I can't do this because it's already been done. Nobody's ever going to do it the way you're going to do it. And in order to bring this work to people, in order to heal people and show people these non-linear steps that you're talking about, you're doing it in Kailey's way. You're doing it your way.
Yeah.
And I think that's so incredibly cool. And so many people are going to benefit from you sharing that gift with them. So has this happened yet?
So I am continuing right now to see people like in the traditional way I'm seeing them, just like, so I can continue to help. But I am right now starting to accept my first round of like one-on-one. So I'm going to create this whole community, you know, program, and that's going to be the Essence Society. So joining to return to your essence. But I want to get, you know, a little more one-on-one feedback with people to just like work out.
Work out the kinks. Right?
Yeah, so I'm looking for, I feel like my magic number is around like 7 people. I already have 2 that are interested. So I have like 5 open spots for people that are looking for that one-on-one journey. I need a little bit more support. And I
love that. So the evolution of your business, moving from the space you were in, the space you're in now, and then the future Kailey's business, which will be called, what's the Essence?
The Essence Society is like
Society.
The group program, the community of people like that I want to bring together.
Okay. So we're calling that out now.
Yeah.
You're number 7. Yeah. We've got a couple, so we've got 5 spots.
Yeah.
How do people find that?
So you can find me on Instagram. I'm Kailey Lena, Kailey. Lena is Lena. My mom says in the true Italian way, and then just 1 underscore. So you can find me there. My old way of doing, I guess, had a different title, was energetic nutrition. So I still have that website, and you can get there, you know, from my Instagram.
I'll link all this.
Yeah, or
I'll link it in the comments.
Wellness.info is that. So you can learn a little bit more about the muscle testing that I'm doing, but I'm going to launch a whole new website that's more focused on this. I just didn't want to like drop the other one off. Yeah. That way people could still reach me. But yeah.
Part of your process.
Yeah. Okay. So you can still reach me.
That's amazing. I'm really excited for you.
Thank you. It feels really, really good. You know, I've been kind of like trying to figure it out in this like void of knowing that there is something that I can help with. And but that kind of human design kind of opened up a lot of this too, because being a manifesting generator, it kind of gave me the permission to like, you can do a lot of things and be really good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
And have those things like light you up and help people with them. And then I don't know if you know about the profiles. Well, we're gonna have to dive into your chart. I want to look at your chart.
I know. Like, should we do a little tease on what human design is, and then we could do a whole episode on it?
Sure.
Because I feel like we don't have time to dive into it.
Probably not.
We don't need to go to talk for the sweet spot.
Yeah.
This is real life. We've spilled tea. We're talking to you about time. It's freezing cold. But we're bringing the sunshine because that's cute.
How long is it? I don't even know. Like,
I don't even We've been here 3 hours, 27 minutes. No, normally the sweet spot for this audience for you guys out there is like an hour is good.
Yeah.
Because we'll, you know, when we're driving or when we're going for a walk or something, people listen. So let's do this. Let's touch on what is human design. And then I want to ask you the question I ask everybody that we end with is there something that's on your heart today that you just feel called to share? And you might not know right in a second. Come to you in that moment.
Yeah.
But that way it opens the door to make this episode with you exactly as it was supposed to be. We come full circle.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
So let's do it. Let's talk about, I'm very new to human design. Elizabeth Lewis introduced me to human design, and she is the founder, the CEO, and Badass Babe. So now you have to listen to this episode, Elizabeth, because I'm giving you a shout out. But she founded Detroit Moms.
Oh.
Do you know about Detroit Moms?
I do, but I'm not like
super cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have her on an episode. She'll talk about it. So okay, tell us about human design.
So human design was created, I don't even know how long ago, but it's a bunch of different ways that like your energetic blueprint is mapped. So I think it's like a combination of astrology. I don't want to say the wrong things because I don't know.
Yeah.
And anyone who doesn't know, I say I don't know. So I'm not sure. But I know it's like, it's a way that when you come in to this earth and there's like an energetic like on you for what that means for you. And there's different types. So let's see, there's generators, manifesting generators, there's manifestors, reflectors, and projectors. And we all kind of have our different, I guess, not jobs, but ways that we work in society. Like manifesting generators and generators are the like energy group. So we love to work. We have a lot of energy. We need to expend it for us to sleep well at night. We are the doers, the innovators, the creators. Yeah. Manifestors do too. I don't know why. I feel like I know the least about them, but they're great in their work that they do as well. But I feel like I don't want to share the wrong thing about them. Projectors are really interesting because they are here to help the manifestors and the manifesting generators implement. So they are kind of like guides.
That'd be a good like team. Like
yeah. So like me as a manifesting generator, like my dream person to help me is a projector because they give like advice and guidance so well, and they're someone that like needs to share that, but only when it's ready to be shared. So there's someone who's like, if they're giving unwarranted advice, it might not be taken.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but they're so important, but they're low energy, so working by themselves. So if you're a projector, you might only have 3 hours of work in you before you're like, I literally can't do this. But if you're there's someone who would work well in a like creative space. So if we were working together and I were a projector and you're a manifesting generator, like that might give me more energy. Like I feed my energy off of you, which is super interesting. So if you're a projector in a relationship, they say you need to go to bed before your generator, manifesting generator. That way, like you can sleep, so you're not like feeding off of their energy.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And us generators and manifesting generators need to go to bed like when we're tired, but projectors they won't necessarily know when they're tired because they can be overtired. They just have to have this knowing of like, this is when I should go to bed.
I need to meet a projector now.
Yeah.
To, like, confirm that.
I feel like you'll kind of know. Like I have a few friends when I first got into this, I was like, I feel like you guys are projectors, and they were. And it's crazy because they guide me in so many ways that they just like don't even realize. Yeah. So that's kind of like the basic. That's like, you telling me what the temperature is outside without knowing anything else about the weather. Yeah. So there's so much more that you can dive into. There's ways that you make decisions. So there's some people who have sacral authority. So like those people, you need to ask yes or no questions to. So are we going out to eat? Let's see. Do you want sushi? Yes or no? And you'll know that like gut. Yeah. But majority of people have an emotional authority where we need to like feel what it feels like in each decision. So we should never make decisions immediately. You should always like sleep on it.
Yes.
Because we have waves of emotion. So you might say yes to something if you're at a high, or you might say no to something if you're at a low.
Right.
So knowing that authority in your body is really a good way of like knowing how you should handle decisions. Yeah. And then there's profiles. So there's 6 different profiles, and you have a conscious and a subconscious piece.
Okay.
So I'm a 3-5. I'm trying to know what the 3 is. I feel like that's the experimenter. So I take all my different experiences and like combine them and share. And I feel like that's the 5 piece. I'm not sure exactly, but there's so many different ones that can kind of like create that identity behind that. And then what else are like the big pieces? I feel like the decision making process is huge, but there's kind of like a map. So when you go and you get a map, it looks kind of crazy because there's these different centers. You know, there's kind of reminds me of chakra. You know, your head center, your ajna, your throat. You have your heart, your ego, your sacral, your root. And there's different channels that go between, and different channels mean different things, and when they're connected, they mean different things. But it kind of gives you like a roadmap for how you handle life. And to me, it just was so like affirming that I was like, whoa, yeah, that is totally how I am with that. Yeah. That makes so much sense. Because I feel like sometimes, which I love astrology, Libra. Libra, sun, moon, rising with him. Libra, sun, Sagittarius, moon, and Taurus rising.
Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed you know that. I've been told like 5 times what I'm an Aries.
Well, I can see that.
But my grandma did my chart for me when I was a little girl, but I don't know the rising or the.
But that makes so much. So like, if, again, just telling me you're an Aries like tells me like the front page of like the cover story. You know, like your moon and your rising like play so much more into it. But that's why I love human design, because when you know so much about it, you know other people's charts, like it changes sometimes how you interact. Like I know my husband and my son, and sometimes I'm like, well, that's why you're doing that, or that's why you're reacting that way, or that's why I need to go about it in a different way. So from the coaching space, it's really cool, because if you know who you're coaching, or who you're working with, or who you're, you know, a client, or you're healing, or whatever, there's certain ways that you can go about it that make it helpful, more effective.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's another tool, right? So Sunny Side Up is all about tools. It's another tool in our toolbox to relate better to our spouse in our relationships, and to get to know ourselves. Thank you for sharing that. And on my phone, I downloaded this app. It's I'm going to show it to you if you're watching the YouTube, but it's called My Human Design app. Oh, you can't even see it.
Okay, so pull yours up. Let's see.
It's called My Human Design, and it's free. So it's a free app, and you have to enter your birth date, your name, and the exact time you were born, and the city you were born.
The city's really just for oh my gosh, the time zone. So like if you don't know the exact city, if you're in the like the correct time zone, that's good. But you do need the exact time, because if you're off by even a minute, it can change things. Okay. So you have to know. And it tells you your chart, your people. It says my chart, my people, my tips, insight, and then it's got today's tip. As a manifesting generator, your gut already knows what food it wants and how much of that food it needs to satisfy it. So when you're eating with other people, don't be swayed or compare yourself to how much or how little others are eating. This will get you in your mind rather than in your body, which is what we want for you, so you can nourish yourself in the most intuitive, self-guided way. So it's just like something that popped up with your appetite. I didn't even know about that. See, I just like, you can humandesign.com and just plug it in. You can just like get your charts. You don't even need the app, but I love the app. That's great.
Elizabeth told me about the app, and then
so
this is, you guys can see. I don't think you can see in the light.
Yeah.
You can't. Okay, it's glaring, but it's called, just to remind you, the app is called My Human Design, and it's got like a person with shapes on it. So you and I will have to jump on this offline, but I can even like play it.
The starting point in human design is your energy type. We're actually all built to function very differently, with different skills and different ways that our energy works. So we need to align with that rather than do things the way that the world tells us we need to do things. When we do, we create success and happiness with so much more ease. And it's more enjoyable because it's the way our souls actually crave doing life. Your energy type tells you how you're built to operate, and it's arguably the most important aspect of your design. Your energy type is what we call a manifesting generator. Let's get into what that means.
Let's get into what that means.
Multi-passionate people.
Hold on, I messed up.
You have various.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is cool, right?
Yeah, I'm just get the app. That's really cool.
So the app is free, but you can pay $4.99, and then they, of course, get you into pay $4.99 a month for all the all the extras.
Your chart. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that offline. But thank you for sharing the basics of that, because I think it's a tool, right, Sunshine Squad, that we can have for learning about ourselves. Yeah, and learn. So my spouse, I don't call him that, my husband, my hubby, my spouse, I had him do it.
Yeah.
And you do something with your husband or your significant other, and you're like, just do it. I want to see what you are. Just do it. What's your Enneagram?
I seriously want to know what everybody is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he did it, and I like whatever. And he told me what he was, and we talked about it. And I didn't think he absorbed. Like, it was just one of those things that he did, because I thought, I asked him to do it. But the other day in the kitchen, he came up to me. He's like, hey, remember that thing you had me do with the human design? I was like, and he's like, well, I'm this and I'm that, and that's why I ask so many questions. And the thing says that that's why I do what I do. And I was like, what? Like, you actually will absorb that. So I love that, because I was like, wow, he really internalized it, you know? And so it's a tool.
That's so cool.
If you guys remember too, the 7 love language, or
love languages, I don't know how many.
There's seven love languages. There's that number 7 again. 7 is the God number. It's like 11, 11's the angels. But anyways, I love that as a tool, because how you love others isn't necessarily how you feel love, right? And that's huge. That's huge.
And knowing that with your partner, like, that was huge. Like,
yeah.
I still receive in the way of acts of service, and like my husband still receives in touch. So it's just like
same.
Yeah. And he wants to give in, words of affirmations, and I'm like, no, like, acts of service. That's my
service. Yes. Yep.
So it's just a cool way to get to know you.
Yeah.
And get to know others, and like, it just makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
No, it really does. It really does. Okay. So we're gonna do a whole another episode on human design. I would love that. Actually, we should do a 3-way. Let's do it with Elizabeth.
Yeah, I love that.
That we just,
because she probably knows a lot.
Well, it would just be fun to have the 3 of us chat about that. Yeah. We could do it on our own.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kailey, Lena. You can put your hand on your heart. You can close your eyes. You can breathe into this. What is on your heart? What is something that maybe you've already thought of, or it's coming to you now that we need to share today? You need to share, that needs to be a part of this episode in this space. And you can take your time.
Came to me immediately.
It did. Okay, it's there. There it is. Okay.
Okay, so I've been interacting with people like a lot about this with motherhood and career and being an entrepreneur and whatever, and how it seems like it's this or that, rather than like a both and. And when I had my son, that like it transformed me in a way that like I can't even speak about. I can't even share. Like as a mother, like he made me see everything so differently, and just want to be like the best, truest, like healthiest version of myself in order, like for him to grow up to be who he's meant to be. Mm-hmm. And that was just like such a shift. And I talk to people all the time. They're like, I want to have kids, but like, I don't know if I'm ready. Like, I have this going on. And I'm like, what if that was the step that was going to push you into the thing that you are meant to do? Like, what mm-hmm. if that was like, that is your doorway to opening up your eyes to seeing like truly your potential? And I just have like so much gratitude for him in that because like he doesn't even know like what he has done for me. And like him just like walking around in his little like
marshmallow suit.
Yeah, like there's just something about it. And not saying that that wasn't hard. You know, I was like lost in the depths for like a year of like trying to control. And once I just like let it be, it was like the clouds parted and this is like the way. And I just wanted to share that for anyone who's maybe thinking about, I don't know, starting a family or expanding their family, because, you know, that's on my mind too. And just know that it's all the part of the journey. And if you're not looking to do that, like knowing that is so important too.
It is.
You know, so I think just like, I don't know. I just felt like I really needed to share that because that was just such like a big shift for me. And there's so many different things about, you know, family and motherhood and everything out there. And I don't know. I was called to share that.
Absolutely. And Sonny chose you. I mean, Sonny chose you to be his mom.
Yeah, my little spirit baby.
Little spirit baby. And so again, like Kailey said, whether you do want to start a family or you don't want to start a family, or you already have started a family, whatever your journey looks like, that these humans that we grow, or these humans that come into our lives that maybe we don't grow, you know, maybe you're an aunt, maybe you're an uncle, they're a part of your walk. They're a part of your journey. They're a part of your purpose. I feel the same way about motherhood. And I look at, because I have 2 kids, so both of my boys fulfill me in a different way.
Yeah. Oh, I like hearing that too, because we like think about our second. I'm like, Sonny is like, like how am I gonna?
Yes, they fulfill me in a completely different way.
I love that.
Like I feel like I tell them that. I feel like I tell my boys how they fulfill me, but I know one day I would like to sit down and write a letter to them and like tell them how they've impacted me and how they've changed me. And it's you can't know it till you know it.
Yeah.
You know? So motherhood is it's messy and hard and beautiful and all the things. It's all the things parenting. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for being on the first ever in-person episode of Sunny Side Up. It was so incredible to be here with you. This episode will go live on the airwaves without our beautiful faces, and it will go live as a video. So you guys get to see us both ways.
Yeah.
Come to the Sunshine House for upcoming workshops. All upcoming workshops will be on my revamped website, which I'm not sure when it'll launch. It'll be the next week or two, but AllieMarieLong.com. You can come to the Sunshine House and check those out, or you can book the Sunshine House for your events. Kailey, your website again?
So currently it's energeticwellness.info.
Energeticwellness.info.
Yep.
And then they can find you on Instagram at Kailey Lena _. The underscore comes after, and I will post all that. But yeah, thank you guys for being here, for being a part of the Sunshine Squad, and get out and play in the snow. We might go warm up in the sauna or something.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you guys. Have an awesome day. And